Looking good in your Daisy Gang tea, Ian.
Oh, thanks.
Welcome to the Completely Unnecessary Podcast for Tuesday, May 31st, the end of May 2022. Gray May. That's Ian Ferguson.
Going into the sixth fucking month of this year.
I'm gray-haired Pat Contry. On the show today, we're talking about a scandal in the big box PC game collecting community. We'll also be discussing Reggie speaking about the potential of NFTs and blockchain. Hurts my heart. A new Evercade console was announced.
Yeah.
And more stuff. Elon Musk versus hard drive as well. You had a good weekend, Ian. You watched some horror movies that we talked about a little bit on the exclusive Patreon podcast, patreon.com/CU podcast this week.
Watched a big ol' grip of movies.
We also talked about the new Winnie the Pooh horror movie coming out and the case for and against public domain.
And you watched some Stranger Things.
I watched some Stranger Things. I'm halfway through it right now. And so far I like it. I liked season 3 just because the mall setup was done damn well. Right. So I respected that. They kept about. I read about the brothers that directed and wrote it. They thought about keeping it open as an attraction, and they decided against it, and they didn't. So I guess they shut down the facility. But I guess all that stuff is still up. I don't think they took that stuff down. So So it's out there somewhere where they found that there's so many abandoned malls. So like they found one and just said, "Oh, we're going to do up this mall." So like we're going to do fake storefronts, and yeah, it's great.
I'm surprised they didn't keep it open as an attraction. It's a popular show.
The logistics probably would suck for that. Yeah.
Sure.
That's what's going on in my life, Ian.
Yeah.
Marvel Madness 2.
Marvel Madness 2
was finally playable.
Yep. You can play it on the Internet Archive.
This is one of the, I guess you want to say the grails of preservation, where we knew
one of them. Yeah, this game has been known forever and ever. I mean, when I first got into, learning about weirder and more esoteric video game stuff in the mid to late 90s, Marble Madness 2 was already known.
Esoteric. I haven't said that in a bit. You just said it.
There it is. That's big news. I mean, I don't have a whole lot more to say about it. I don't think it was stated how it leaked, but from what I believe I read, they said that it was an older dump of it. Like the dump, I think there's a date on it or something, but the dump is from a while back, and it's just managed to kind of find its way.
The main person said that could be maybe misleading because it could have been an older computer that was used to dump it in modern times.
Gotcha.
So it could be, something like that. So either way, this was not. They made prototype cabinets. They put them out in the wild to test it, and they never mass produced them. That's why. So these are only in collectors' hands. There's a picture here about 2 prototypes in the hands of a single collector. So they're just hoarding them. So this is good that this got out. We don't know how. We don't know if it was done in a sleazy, sketchy way, where they like the one story we had where the person was repairing the machine
while they repaired the machine.
And I applauded that.
I think it was pyramids no, I don't know what. I can't remember.
It was a few years ago.
We talked about. No, I know. I just was trying to remember the game.
But it's out there, so that's good. There's a picture of it at California Extreme at this technical article of it being shown in 2007. So we're talking about a game that it's not like this to see what we've known about this game for forever.
Right.
And it's just that it's good that we can finally have it fully preserved here. And I love the original. We talk about video game years, and great music, great design, that mid 80s Atari arcade aesthetic. They were on fire, all those games. Tubin, we talk about all of them. Road Blasters, all those games with unique schemes in the mid 80s. Gauntlet. I mean, there's like a murderer's row of games. APB, Paperboy. God, I keep going on. What else is going on here? Embracer Group is getting into the preservation, though they have been in secret without people knowing about it. And they announced this.
Yeah, this is. It's a big undertaking. Basically, their goal is to have a physical copy of every game ever released. They've started, apparently they have an underground lair in Sweden where they have started collecting these.
Is that where they have all the seeds and stuff kept in case of a nuclear holocaust? Is that also in Sweden? You know about that, right?
Yeah.
All the seedlings and so we can always,
rebuild. Yeah. Early access video shows the underground secret vault in Sweden where they keep all of the objects they've collected so far. This is a Rock Paper Shotgun article by Jay Costello. And they talked to Kelsey, actually, from National Video Game Museum, talking about how while this is, a collection, an archive of stuff, what's more important is to, be able to experience or relay what these games were like in their time. And to be able to play them and stuff like that.
We were talking about like a museum is in a compilation of everything that exists. And a museum is showing you the experience of the things at the time in the culture. That's what a museum is.
Right. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And so that's Kelsey's point, and I agree.
This is just a huge collection to me.
Right, exactly. That's what I think this is. It's a big collection, and if it's open and people can use it and they end up setting up systems and you can, that's great. But otherwise, it's a collection under the name of preservation.
Yes.
And that I'm not like the most interested in. But no. I think it's a pretty crazy undertaking, but Embracer Group would have the money to do it. Yeah,
they're going to buy one. I guess it's just not include computer games. It's just console, because the computer game's a whole other bag of shells versus that. And I guess it's going to be...
That's a weird thing for them to do, and that also, I think, solidifies in my mind that this is more of a collection than an archival project. You can't... If your goal is literally every game, you can't just discount computer games,
because there's just as many, probably, if you go by the numbers. There's probably just as many.
Oh, sure, if not more, because you got all the homebrew and stuff like that, and obviously that would be hard to track down. Oh, right, all the commercial releases.
But you're talking like the first years of computers, and then I guess once you get to the 90s when it really blew up, though, more. But yeah, by the 90s you're going to have more computer game releases, I think, than console. I think year by year, probably.
Yeah.
Talk about small and medium-sized companies putting out games as well, probably. Shareware sort of games, there's tons of those. So anyway, well, that's cool. That's cool to want to, preserve things and look at nice things. You can look at
nice things.
Mm-hmm. You absolutely can. You got nice NES and Super Nintendo guidebooks that you can look at.
That was like, you were like, I'm going to throw it. Telegraphed that from across the room.
Shooter's going to shoot. You got the enamel pins. We're down to I think 7 left on this print run. You got the pixel hair pins, RBI baseball stickers, buy the Costco toilet paper roll right here. Mm-hmm. All and more, not for resale, Blu-ray, all at ultimatenintendo.com. I'll be at... What's with these little jabs at me?
I didn't make a jab. I said .com.
Trying to mirror me. I'll be at Too Many Games in Oaks, PA, June 24th to 26th.
Oaks.
And then I'll probably hit a friendlies up. And then I will be on Twitch Wednesday, twitch.tv/CountryCode. Thursday is game 1 of the NBA Finals.
It sure is.
Dubs versus Celtics. Let's go. I'm picking Dubs in 7. It's going to be a tough series.
Oh, it is. It's going to be a tough one. I would probably root for the Celtics.
Root for my fist in a second.
Yeah.
You like the Celtics, really?
I mean, if it's a California team versus an East Coast team, I'm going to take the East Coast team.
It's Northern Cal, though. It's not L.A. It's not the Lakers.
I definitely can't do LA, but I'm not particularly sold on any California teams except for maybe the Padres.
Wow, Ian. That hurts.
Yeah, I mean, I've said it a billion times. I fully support your fandom.
Not the Angels?
No. I fully support your fandom, but I can't get into that.
Not the Sacramento Kings?
Sack Kings might be the one I could, but I can't.
One of the worst run organizations in sports the past.
I even said years. I can't. You're close. But
Sack Kings. You had a short to make it sound cool.
Yeah.
No one thinks the Kings are cool, by the way.
No one does.
This is a quick story about an MMO that's not been around for even a year getting canceled. A Marvel MMO was canceled. I didn't know existed.
I didn't know it existed.
That's why it was canceled.
All right, well, that's the extent of that.
They announced it in a blog post by parent company Enad Global 7.
Love that company. Make some of my favorite games.
The game was, you like this corporate talk, the game was canceled after a reevaluation of the development risk profile, size of investment, and the long-term product portfolio strategy. It ain't selling. No one's playing it. That's all you got to say.
That's it.
This was a super bad mistake. An MMO, you have to do constantly, upgrade and have new features come out for it in the servers, and it's a tough thing to keep going if no one's playing it. It's never finished. An MMO was never finished. It's always ongoing. Too expensive, and they needed money, and no one's playing it. So there you go. It was announced last November.
Last November?
Yes. So we're talking a very short...
It didn't even make it a year.
No. That's what I'm saying. No. Not a year from announcement. So that's all you got there. I don't know the name of the damn thing.
Well, if you played it, it's gone, and we're very sorry.
Yeah, exactly. A new Evercade,
yes,
was announced. Evercade's only been around for a couple of years, and
this has been this was announced, I think, this morning. We were just made aware of it this morning. Great, thank you, computer. Thank you for closing that page I just opened. So it is a remodel of their handheld unit, and honestly, some people were asking us, "Hey, do you think this is too soon?" Evercade's cartridges are cheap. They've got marketing and licensing they have to deal with. I don't think it's that weird for a company to iterate something every other year. And I mean, they did the console last year. The main reason I want to give this one a break is it's taking care of the problems people have with it, namely the battery life. Is getting extended, and the screen on the original Evercade is not a particularly great screen. It's got a lot of like bad spots where it doesn't light up. It doesn't look proper if you hold it at an off angle. So they're upgrading it with a 4.3-inch IPS screen, and it bumps the resolution from 480 272 to 800 480.
Which from a lot of these games you don't necessarily need, but it's nice to have, especially since it's going to have Wi-Fi. So I'm not sure if that means you'll have like a web browser on this. I have no idea what the Wi-Fi.
No, they say right now the Wi-Fi is simply going to be making updates easier.
Okay.
Which is fine. They said they're not, at least as of right now, they're not going to be selling games on any sort of web store. One neat thing that this does add is it adds the ability to hold it in Tate mode, and so if they get like horizontal shooters or they're not going to get Nintendo products, but something that uses a vertical monitor like Centipede or Donkey Kong.
They put. Basically, when you're looking at it sideways, normally there's an A and B buttons vertical. So when you turn it, you'll hold it up by the bottom with the cross pad and the aim. It's a great idea. It's actually brilliant.
It's a great idea. I realized fitting one more button in there would have been tough, but a lot of shooters, depending on how far they go,
they do 3.
A lot of shooters will have 3 buttons.
Use a little trigger right by there. You can do it. You can kind of pull it off there. Yeah?
You can, but it's hard. I've tried to play like PSP games like that.
There's 4 triggers on this.
Yeah, 4 triggers, 4 face buttons, 2 duplicate A and B buttons, start, select, and home.
No, I think it's going to cost
$150.
$150. This is what I'm going to say. Yeah, it's only been 2 years. I will say this. I would cut them from Slack just because. No one knows. Like, we're talking, this is not a huge company that originally came up with this.
I don't think anyone expected them to get as popular as they did.
Yeah, like the amount of R&D and money to like put out something that is truly unique. This isn't an AliExpress just ROM holder.
Right.
We're at least building like something that can play these games. And we're building our own, interface, our own menu. Like, this isn't just like I said,
right.
cheap.
Starting as small as they did, they probably made what they could with the money they had.
They had to walk before they could run.
Yes.
Obviously, this would have been nice to have been the first version, but I can't tell you the riskiness. Like this, the same way when limited run starts out, people are like, "Why are you doing small runs?" Because they can't afford to do say, "Oh, we're going to print 15,000 something," and if they don't sell, they're out of business. Yeah. That's the bottom line. That's how businesses works. You have to do these calculated smaller risks.
Well, I remember in the early days, someone said something to me basically along the lines of, with limited run, we're one bad decision on a game away from,
Yes.
Limited Run's definitely grown way bigger.
Oh, no, they're a huge
massive.
company now. Yes.
They're massive. But
back
they weren't
then, the first year.
Yeah, people were upset, but it's like, do you want a shot at a physical game, or do you just want no physical games at all? This is what we have to do.
Yeah, they can print 5,000 of a game for the Vita back then, and sell 500 of them. They got to pay a license fee for every single one on top of the production. It's like, then they're done. That's it. So that's what point. The point is that you have to start smaller. Maybe a competitive, a competing company doing their own console could have thought the same way. Let's start small. And then we'll see what we get in terms of the interest. That's usually the smart way to go there. Unless if you're doing books like me and you're just an idiot. What else we got going on, Ian?
Well, this one's sad, and this is why I always say, don't have corporate heroes. Reggie Fils-Aimé has commented on NFTs in the blockchain. He's commented on it slightly before. He says that he believes these technologies could have substance and value. And while I feel like there's always a potential that something could have substance and value, the way he talks about it does not convince me of any substance or value. In fact, Reggie, unfortunately, parrots most of the points that have already been proven to not mean anything. So he talks about a game like Pokemon, not that uses NFTs, not an original concept, also not necessary, also something that's already kind of being done with that game Axie Infinity, which suffered like a multi-million-dollar heist like a month ago. We talked about it briefly. You might not remember it because so much shit happens with NFTs you can't keep track of it.
There's so many scams and weird shit that happen every day.
So then he talks about Animal Crossing, and this is like truly dark and kind of gross to me. Taking a game like Animal Crossing, which is kind of like a stress release for a lot of people, you know, a happy, pretty chill game. People can get really into it, but most of the reasons why people like Animal Crossing is it's just kind of a relaxing escape from the world. Yes. And he talks about building up everything in Animal Crossing, and then wouldn't it be great to be able to monetize that when you're done playing?
Here's his quote. I knew you're going to key on this. This is what I keyed on. This is awful.
Yes.
For him to say this. There's some games I've invested 300 hours in a game, and when I'm ready to move on to something else, would it be great to monetize what I built?
No.
And he uses Animal Crossing as an example. This is really bad. This is a guy that, you know, was the head of, you know, Pizza Hut or whatever. They're doing the Bigfoot pizza, or was it Domino's?
Yeah, Bigfoot Pizza Hut.
So that's the same guy that comes to Nintendo. He's going to sell you shitty quality pizza, but with a great marketing premise and name in order to, like, oh, it's a Bigfoot pizza.
Right.
So, like, that's the same guy that came to Nintendo. Yes, we all love Reggie. We love him on stage. He seems like a cool dude overall. He's laid back.
He's funny, and I would probably have some good conversations with him, but he's a corporate businessman.
He's a president CEO mindset still, thinking, how could we make more money out of this?
So the Animal Crossing thing is particularly upsetting to me because, and this is what I always say with NFT games, once you introduce the ability to make money in a game, people are no longer going to play that game the way it's meant.
You pervert the entire meaning of the game.
The entire game changes. Yes. All of a sudden, now Animal Crossing is literally just a second job. And it's just more work. And it's people grinding.
And they're playing differently because of that.
Because at the end of the day, if money's involved, you're going to find, and we've said it a billion times, you're going to find ways to break the game. You're going to find ways to min-max it. And suddenly, you're not playing a game, you're working a job.
Everyone's going to try to find, I'm guessing I've not played it. There's rare items that probably people will be hunting after. They're going to try to develop the best spot of land on the island to get paid. And it's like, now it's just fucking gross. It's no longer a little vacation getaway. Now it's just like a commercial, like real estate fucking game.
And somewhere in here he touches on it, or at least his ideas are in line with it. People always talk about being able to monetize like items and stuff you get in games. All you need to do, it's amazing how quickly people forget, is look at Diablo 3. It launched with a real money auction house, and they shut that shit down because it ruined the game immediately.
And they recognized it. At least they recognized it.
Yeah.
They're like, this is bad. And then he said, I understand the divisiveness. I really do. And certainly the environmental elements, that is something that has to be solved. Well, it ain't going to be solved. I mean, people say about, you know, different types of blockchain. It's not getting solved right now. Not all.
Ethereum's been months away from going from proof of stake to proof of work, or whatever the alternate one is. Yeah, and they just never do. They've been saying it for years.
And not all blockchain is so environmentally disruptive. The fact is, though, most of it is that we know about.
Well, and the other problem is a lot of the blockchains that are saying that they're not environmentally destructive is because they try to be carbon neutral. And we've already talked about what bullshit a lot of sapling. Yeah, plant a bunch of trees someplace.
That doesn't help us now. No, we're talking about potential things.
Trees take 10 years to get to, like, from what I was reading, it's like 10 years to get to the point where they're actually producing a meaningful amount of oxygen.
Gotcha. So it's like, in the meantime, you're just wrecking. Any positive energy developments from renewables are being wiped the hell out, which is what's been happening with a lot of this stuff. We're not talking about all the eco waste. We don't talk about that. We're not talking about the tons of like CPUs, GPUs. There's literally pictures of warehouses of stacks of e-waste from burned out processors and graphics cards from mining crypto and doing blockchain stuff. Like, it's ridiculous. It's ridiculous how much of this exists.
So I just recommend people really lay off the weird cutesy affection for like certain people in these video game companies, because you end up with this, and then it's just like you can think these people are interesting or neat, but like
they're not gods.
They're not fucking gods.
Don't put people on pedestals like Elon Musk.
Elon Musk.
Let's relax a bit on the worshiping of people. It's not like and people can do good things. Elon Musk, gave electric cars a big shot in the arm that was needed. Absolutely, that was needed.
And his electric car will thankfully be useless or a thing of the past once other companies get their electric cars on the road.
He gave it the initial push that the industry needed. It was a disruptor. And now you're having other better real car companies fill in the gaps and make cars that are cheaper and won't trap you while the car burns you alive, potentially.
The problem is like he did this one thing with the help of many, many other people and got high on his own fucking farts.
Yes.
So Hard Drive, a account that I love to follow on Twitter. They're very funny. They're
satirical.
It's like the Onion of video games kind of deal, kind of thing. So Elon Musk deleted the tweet already, but the understanding is he retweeted something that Hard Drive tweeted, but it was
an article from Hard Drive about how the VLC player figured out decrypting the Zodiac killer.
Oh, okay.
So it's tongue in cheek about VLC player. You download, there's always plugins and codecs.
Yeah, there it is. Okay, so yeah, I see it. But he cut them out of the retweet.
Yeah, well, he tweeted just the picture headline without the article, without their name on it.
Correct.
And because he likes posting memes because he's a 50-year-old man child. And that's all he does. That's how he does that to get attention for his Tesla stock and for his stuff.
So Hard Drive's response was a wonderful, "Hey, I'll give you a horse if you stop cropping your name off of our articles."
And you may ask, why would they say give us a horse? Is it because it's like their children? No, because it's come out in the past few weeks that Elon allegedly offered a horse
for a hand job,
for basically an erotic massage to one of the airline attendants on his private plane, and they settled out of court for $250,000 with that attendant after she refused, and she claims that after that she couldn't get work anymore for that. So that's why that's a brilliant response. And then he responded, well, if you make something that looks like a meme and someone, not me, crops off your name, so it goes. And also, this is only a 6 out of 10 meme, so maybe step down from that high horse. Speaking of horse, this person is unaware and just oblivious and is an unfunny fucking dork. Elon Musk, I'll just say that.
He's unfunny, and he like his whole thing is he's 50 and he wants to be cool with the worst shitheads on the internet.
He wants to be hip with the kids. How you doing, fellow kids? That's Elon Musk.
He wants 4chan to like worship him. He wishes he's awful. So they replied with another one. Hard Drive that says, okay, well, let me know what you think about this one. And it's Elon Musk admits he wants to travel to Mars because no one hates him there.
Yes.
And Musk replied, less funny than SNL on a bad day. The lack of awareness here. The lack of awareness, just teeing it up.
This could make a drunk person sober, which is such a fucking boomer response. Yep. And he says, try harder. And then Hard Drive is like salivating the person writing the tweets. Because I would have been. And they tweeted, well, you're the expert on SNL's bad days, showing sad Wario, Elon Musk as Wario on SNL when he hosted it last year.
Yeah. So then when you click on it, I think it's this one. Elon Musk, then realizing his defeat, decides to just use keywords, code words that make him sound smart, and says the reason you're not funny is because of wokeism.
Yes, that's what it is. That's what it is.
And while I've always found Hard Drive's politics to be agreeable with mine, I don't think they're out of their way to be woke.
My favorite response was this top one. If Elon Musk hates socialism so much, why is he always getting publicly owned? Which is brilliant. So it just goes back to the hero worship, and obviously there's a bunch of Elon Musk fanboys out there that are in love with him, and you can't say anything bad about their god. And,
I'm sure our comment section is
and Hard Drive's hysterical. So Hard Drive got a big boost from this, obviously.
That's the other thing. Like the Hard Drive's responses, I don't spend a whole lot of time with the internet popularity contest thing, but the word is ratio. They destroyed him in the likes game.
But then they did a apology on their website for this, and I don't know if you read that.
No, I did not.
It's funny.
Okay,
it's brilliant and it's funny, and it talks about the woke stuff and. One of the lines from it real quick, it's like, we know how harsh a 6 out of 10 meme is in video games. That means it's practically 0. Stuff like that. It was, I don't know who wrote that article, but like, I'd love to be able to, try to submit an article sometime, because that's like my cup of tea, that sort of writing. So that's
good stuff.
That's good shit. That's good shit.
It is.
Speaking of good shit in wrestling, Ian.
Yeah.
So it was alerted on Friday, Smackdown. We have our first poster board of the Intellivision Amico appearing at a wrestling event.
Someone tagged us like right as it happened, and we had a picture within like half an hour, and it just says, it's right by the entrance, it's clear as day, it says Intellivision Amico scammed me, with a little frowny face.
With a little frowny face. And if you know about wrestling events the past few years, there's lots of like nerdy video game signs that like Final Fantasy 9 is underrated, stuff like that. You see lots of those like RPG stuff, and it's like, I guess there's a crossover there in some of the audience, and it's just fun stuff. And
it's nerdery.
It's nerdery. That's a good word. It's just trivial. Plus, like the New Day have been kind of nerdy and geeky and a lot of their stuff the past several years. So there's been like this crossover.
Credit where it's due. I believe the person who is holding up the sign goes by Dean TV.
Kenny Omega is super nerdy and geeky into video game stuff, and so he's worked that into his moveset, the V trigger, one of his special setup moves in the game.
His big finisher, One Winged Angel, is a reference to Sephiroth from Final Fantasy VII.
Oh, okay,
yeah, that's the name of the song that plays. So that's definitely a deep cut.
Yeah, and he's into that stuff, obviously, and he liked a certain NES guidebook. I gave him the digital version. Anyway, So the point is that it's funny to see that, and I think going forward, it might not necessarily become a meme in the gaming industry, but it's going to be looked at probably as one of the biggest failures / scams we've seen in the gaming realm. Because even like these people were saying the Gizmodo actually came out.
I'm totally into calling it a scam at this point. Lots of people are not getting their money back when they were told that your refunds are.
People might be trying to do by this point. Maybe hopefully they're trying to do some sort of guys, too late for credit cards. It depends on how many months for like PayPal disputes and things like that. Like if it's credit card, usually I think it's up to 6 months. But if you pre-ordered this 2 years ago, you might be out of luck. Yeah. At that point, you might be out of luck. So. It's just funny. Keep the signs coming. Keep the memes coming. Don't let them get away with anything. Don't let them get away with things, because they're going to try to run and hide.
They're already trying to hide.
They're trying to hide, not tweeting out, not talking about.
I really don't think this quiet period is ever going to actually come to an end. Yeah. I think that this is it. This is it.
They took the money and ran, and it's a shame, because it was our worst nightmare, and then it came to life.
And Tommy is definitely he's too narcissistic to not try to come back at some point, and no one should let him forget this.
No.